Hi children, today we are going to learn a grammar lesson. So, turn section 1 in your Grammar to 14 book. Our lesson is statements, questions, commands and exclamations. Scheme of work reference pages 52 and 53. Objectives of the lesson. At the end of this lesson, students will be able to define a simple sentence, identify main types of sentences with their corresponding ending marks. Do you know what is a sentence? Yes, a sentence is a group of words which makes sense. There are 4 main types of sentences. They are statements, questions, exclamations, and commands. So, simple sentences may make a statement, issue an instruction, ask a question, or express an exclamatory remark. The first type of sentence is statements. A statement tells us something. It always ends with a full stop. First example is, she arrived at the station. Second example, the exhibition was praised by the critics. Third example is, I stepped out the back door into the garden. Here, all these 3 sentences tell us something, and they all end with a full stop. So, they are called statements. The second type of sentences is questions. A question asks something. It always ends with a question mark. Look at these examples. First example, what do you want? Second example, how deep is the ocean? Third example, when does the next bus arrive? So, all these 3 sentences are something. So, we call them questions. There are 2 types of questions. They are direct questions and indirect questions. Let's identify what are the direct questions. Direct questions are questions that can be answered. As the name implies, a direct question always requires an answer. Direct questions always end with a question mark. Look at these 2 examples. First example, who is she? Second example, have you done your homework? Here, these are simple sentences that ask direct questions, and they can be answered too. And also, they end with question marks. So, they are called direct questions. Let's identify what are the indirect questions. Indirect questions are questions embedded inside statements. They do not ask a question directly, but they indicate that a question has been asked. And also, they do not end with question marks. You are given two examples. Look at them. He asked me who she is. Second example, I asked him whether he had done his homework. These are complex sentences that ask indirect questions. They cannot be answered and they do not have question marks at the end. So, we call them indirect questions. The next type of sentences is exclamations. Exclamations show strong feelings. They express extreme feelings of joy, anger, sympathy, disgust, despair, etc. It ends with an exclamation mark. So, you can easily recognize exclamations by the exclamation mark at the end. The first example, wow, I'm so excited. Second example, I am absolutely disgusted. Third example, what a wonderful life this is. Here you can see the first sentence express extreme feeling of excitement. The second sentence express extreme feeling of disgust. The third sentence express extreme feeling of wonder. And also at the end of all these three sentences, there is an exclamation mark. So they are called exclamations. This is another type of sentences. Commands. A command tells someone to do something. They can be instructions in the form of sentences. So, they may vary in tone according to the context in which they are used. First example, take the first exit. Second example, bring your raincoat. Third example, mix the brown flour with the eggs. Look at these three sentences. They are instructions given in the form of sentences. So, we can consider them as commands. Remember children, there are some commands which require an exclamation mark at the end to emphasize urgency or strength of feeling. Look at the examples. Clear the area quickly. Even though this is not an exclamation, there is an exclamation mark at the end of this command. Why is that? Because this command emphasizes an urgency. Look at the second example. Get off my lawn. This is also another command, but the end of this command there is an exclamation mark. Why is that? Because this is also another command which emphasizes strength of feeling. Let's see how to use simple sentences. We use simple sentences to express something very directly. A short, simple sentence may be used to emphasize a point you are making, or it can be used to create a dramatic effect. Look at the example. The rush hour crowds were intent on getting home because it was growing dark and rain was beginning to fall. Suddenly, a strange piercing cry rang out. People stopped in their tracks and looked round to see where this unearthly sound had come from. In this paragraph, both simple and complex sentences are used. Here, the simple sentence is, suddenly, a strange piercing cry rang out. You can see it is used among more complex sentences to create a dramatic effect. Now it's time for you to answer the exercises. You can find starting point, going further, and further still in page number 53 of your grammar book. Let's start with starting point. Make a note of whether each of the following is a statement, a question, a command, or an exclamation. As an example, the first one is done for you. What do you think of the latest fashion? Now you have to think whether this is a statement, a question, a command, or an exclamation. What is your answer? Yes, you can see a question mark at the end of this sentence. And also it asks about something. So it is a question. Going further, decide whether each of the following sentences is a direct or an indirect question. The second question. The following sentences are in the form of direct questions. Turn them into indirect questions. As an example, have you no money at all? She asked. Now you have to turn this direct question into an indirect question. So the answer is, she asked him or her whether he or she had no money at all. Let's do further still. Read the following opening to a story. Gaps have been left which should be filled with an appropriate sentence of the kind indicated. First one is done for you. It's a beautiful day, said Ankit. Within brackets, command. Here you have to complete it by using a command. So, you can say, "It's a beautiful day," said Aunt Kate. "Get out of bed." My dear children, now we have come to the end of our lesson. So, hope you all understood the lesson.